Cathy Cress again, and I am back with my YouTube channel, Geriatric Care 1. And we are doing the 24th playlist about death and dying. And we are now getting into cultural values in death and dying. And I must, again, suggest that a lot of this comes from Atul Gawande's Being Mortal. It's a really important book to read. So you have to have a cultural, family-centered approach to death and dying because we're not all white Americans. And it's really important to understand that you incorporate the cultural values and beliefs of the client that you're working with into the death and dying process, because it's really important, and different cultures and different religions have different way of doing things. Because in order for the older person to make informed healthcare decisions in the family, you might have to present the information in a different language. So you really need to do a cultural assessment, which is in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management, with an entire assessment by Dr. Gwen Yao, to really help yourself understand, you understand and them understand exactly what you're doing. The patient may speak English, but the whole family may speak another language. Because Western medicine is not the only game. There's a zillion other games out there in the world. And the game plan for death is very different in different cultures. And so how illness is treated in Western culture is very different than it is in Asian cultures. And this is widely known in the United States. They accept acupuncture and herbs as a cure for illness, and they look askance at Western medicine. Theirs has been around for 5,000 years. Ours, only a little bit of time. It's not to demean it, but to say that, yes, other cultures have different ways of doing that. And, you know, you can take the communication about, there are three things that are really interesting here. One is the communication of bad news. And bad news, you know, which is maybe to say that, you know, this is a terminal situation, in many cultures is verboten to talk about with the particular client, because many cultures feel that this brings on depression and loses hope. So you really need to know bad news is a very important thing to look at. The second thing is pain management. There are some cultures where they feel that emotional control is really important, and that pain has pain is defined in a completely different way. And just look at this in what you know in animals. Animals, you know, are very uncomfortable and they keep on going. Their sense of pain, they still feel it. And the way they handle it is very, very different because they need to survive. So pain management needs to really, you need to figure out the culture and the religion they come from, and to look at how appropriately you can help them, because you're a part of giving them the good end. And the good end is not always a Western end. Decision-making. Decision-making in Western culture is, you know, we tell the patient right away, and, you know, they have the right to make those decisions. In some cultures, you're going to tell the elder in the family, or you're going to tell the leader of the tribe. And even though you would not think of tribes in the United States, but, you know, death and dying and care management is all over the world. And so it is their choice to basically share the way they want, or you get permission from the culture. So there are just three examples of things that can be treated really, really differently. And so it's really important to understand. When I first taught at San Francisco State, because it's San Francisco, I had multicultural students. And as I started teaching aging, I realized the white bread answers are not going to be what I need to give anybody here. And that was how it's really important to me to put a cultural assessment chapter in the Handbook of Geriatric Care Management. And this is especially where it needs to be. So I'll see you next time. Always go to my website, cathycress.com. I will be doing a whole new webinar on death and dying, and you can find out more there.